wagon stank of sweat and rotted straw. Its wheels struck stone, again. The sound climbed through the boards and lodged in Kastor's bones. Iron rings dragged at his wrists. The flesh beneath them had gone red and raw. Wind slipped between the bars. Cold, salted, wet. It took the stench of the cage and bore it out into the marsh. Beyond the iron slats, the Pale Basin lay beneath a dead sky. Flat earth, white reeds stiff with salt, still pools dark as pitch. A road of narrow stone cut through the drowned land, raised little above the mire, as though it had been laid long ago and left to sink into the marsh. Kastor leaned toward the bars. The boards groaned beneath the shift of his weight. One shoulder brushed the iron as he bent forward, too large for the narrow space. He knew not where they brought him, only that it was far from his forest, only that no living thing should have made a home in such a place. "Where are we?" he said. No man answered. Kastor drew back and looked upon the other captives. Two swayed with the wagon, hollow-eyed and slack, as though some worm had crawled behind their faces and eaten its fill. Another sat folded over his knees, his lips working in silent prayer or madness, no sound escaping them. The last crouched in the corner, thin as a scarecrow, his face buried beneath a wild beard. "The White Marshes," said a voice behind him. "West of Astara." Kastor turned. Mudge sat with his back to the boards, short and heavy, his soft pink face calm despite the iron at his wrists. His bound hands rested neatly before him, as though they still belonged to a free man. Weeks they had spent on the same road, bound to the same chain. Yet Kastor knew little of him, save that he spoke often, as if silence made him uneasy. The forester looked back to the marsh. "And what waits at the end?" "Death, most like," Mudge said. Kastor's mouth twitched. "Well, standing in aloes then," Mudge nodded slowly. "Mayhap, though some live through the cloister." Kastor inclined his head, drawing nearer. "The cloister?" The wagon lurched, chain scraped chain. Mudge lowered his gaze to the iron between them. "A cursed place, built for fighting and for dying." The marsh wind passed again through the bars. "Those who endure it become chain warriors," Mudge said. "Men set loose upon one another while the stands roar." Kastor stared at him. For a moment, the road was gone. He saw the ridge above his village. Kara had not wept when he went to war. She had stood in her green shawl, chin lifted, eyes fixed on him, as though a brother's promise could bind a man to the earth. Then the ridge blackened. Smoke moved between the trees. His father lay half across the threshold of the longhouse, one hand still closed around the axe he had not lived long enough to lift again. A strip of green cloth clung to a broken thorn beside the path where the women had been driven out. Then Kastor laughed, loud, sudden, empty of warmth. The sound was too large for the cage. It struck the boards and came back harshly, making the chains tremble at his wrists. Every face turned. The praying man stopped moving his lips. In the corner, the bearded man lifted his head for the first time. "Good," he said. Mudge raised one brow. "Most men hear such words and go quiet as graves. Why do you grin?" Kastor's jaw hardened. "They burned my village, felled my father, sold my sister like cloth beneath a stall." He gave a small shrug. "What remains save vengeance?" Mudge was quiet a while. "Well," he said at last, "you remain." Kastor frowned. "And your sister," Mudge said. "If the gods have not turned their faces." Kastor's gaze went to the iron bars. There it was. Gods, always gods. "Kara prayed at dawn," he said, "and at dusk, hands folded, just as our mother taught her. When the Asteri came, where were they? Why did they not save her?" Mudge blinked once. "They did. The words sat in the wagon. Kastor stared. Mudge looked him over, then tilted his head. "You do not spend long with a thought before releasing it, do you?" Kastor scratched at the side of his head. "My sister says the same." Mudge's mouth bent. He laughed first. Then Kastor, harsh laughter, cracked and graceless. It shook inside the cage and made the other men flinch, yet something opened between them. Not trust, not brotherhood. Only two strangers bound to the same chain, smiling as men smile when the storm has taken all they had, yet lacked the mercy to bury them with it.